In 2009, we applied for funding from YUSA, the CDC, and Robert Woods Johnson Foundation.
The Y CEO came to my office initially to assist in trying to get the grant written.
We were just looking for grant money, didn't know a lot about it.
And next thing I know, we got the grant. And of course, Randy comes back to me and says, David, I'd like you to be part of our dream team.
We were tasked to go out and find 12 individuals in the community, form a team, and we were going to go to Washington and learn something, how we were going to become a healthier community.
After we went to Washington, and I went twice, I began to see the broader scope of what Pioneering Healthy Communities was headed for.
We formed a pretty good nuclear group, came back fired up, to make some changes in our community.
Our first line of business was we did a community health assessment for our community, went out, interviewed, kind of got what people thought of the health of our community, and kind of came up with some action plans.
That our group decided very early that people needed to be educated about what our needs were, where we stood right now. So our group chose to use their initial funding on 2 community seminars, which were kind of new for our community. And when they asked us about it, they said, well, how many people do you think might come? And we said, 100. And they sort of laughed at us and said, oh, you'll be very lucky to get 30. And we, of course, had almost 400 people.
It was a regional type group, and we were awful proud of what was happening. Our second one happened in April, and that time we brought in Mark Fenton to do a walkability study for our community.
I was really delighted to go to Dyersburg because, Randy Butler, CEO at the Y, has really pulled together the kind of team we're talking about across the disciplines. So I really enjoyed the fact that we got out with a group in the van together. We walked down to where the farmers market is. We walked to where the trails connection will be to the downtown. When you do that on foot with everybody, it really gives people a lot of perspective on how close this stuff is, how doable it is, and when people start to get a collective vision like that, they get really excited.
From that summit, we took 6 strategies away to start working on some built environment. Some folks thought that bike paths would be a good way to go. So, we worked on some community health projects and different things, and we kept moving forward.
Well, first thing we had to do, like any other action plan, is we derived a very successful leadership team that was fired up, had the right attitude, local business people, educators, YMCA leaders, other peripheral type leaders. But just all that coming together, all of a sudden we've stimulated the mindset of people and the people throughout Dyer County.
You've had the ears of the mayors, of the city councilmen, county commissioners, everyone that has the ability to make decisions has been involved in those decisions and are truly buying into the program.
Again, it just opened my eyes to the health of our community, to areas we need to work on, to teaching our young people healthier lifestyles.
Sometimes I'd say, well, really I didn't think much about it until this came along. So I thought about it, but I wasn't serious about it. I guess that's a better explanation of it.
I think that people understand that the community is moving one direction. The community is finally coming together, and that's all different aspects of the community are coming together in one unified front to say health is very important to our community. It's very important for the future of our community, and we can't do it until we all come together.
I think the PHC initiative has created a sense of empowerment generally.
That bank presidents and chambers of commerce were interested in health aspect of a county. I was surprised.
The chamber is the front door to the community. It's also responsible for marketing the different aspects of the community, and having a healthy community shows that we are fostering a quality of life that's conducive to a healthy workforce.
Most CEOs are going to pay attention to the bottom line. The bottom line is negatively impacted by people that are inactive, sick a lot, obese, all these negative things that are tied to health and wellness cost the company quite a bit.
As you improve your livability and the aesthetics of your community, you draw more people in, you draw younger people in. We want our young people back.
And if you went from one town to another, they might all look the same. So one way we're going to distinguish ourselves, I think, is by having some of these features that people normally expect to see in larger communities.
We have enhanced programs that was already in our community and built upon those programs and efforts.
Health education, PA, PE, community and family wellness. There are 8 modules for coordinated school health, and the goals of Pioneering Healthy Community fit in beautifully.
One of the things that I was able to bring back from that conference was an idea that had been kind of taking shape in my mind for a good while about our students that come to school early in the morning on buses.
So early in the mornings before school, rather than to sit in a confined area and be good, we allow them to go outside and burn off a little energy and walk around and wake themselves up.
We got kids walking in the morning, got them up out of the bleachers and out on the track walking, and that program became popular.
It's become a competition. Kids love to compete, so they're always trying to top each other in the miles.
A spin-off of that, the next 2 years later, was to form a cross-country program, which has been very successful. This year we've registered, I think, 200 children for our cross-country program, and that is just about 1/3 of our entire student body.
And we have days where we have walks to school, and we have hundreds of our students who walk to school.
So we have National Walk to School Day, and we participated in that, and our children responded so positively that we went back later and added a couple more of those events, and hope to build on that with a Bike to School event in the near future.
Our primary school students don't bring their own snacks to school. We provide snacks for everybody at the primary school, to where we have fresh fruits and vegetables for the snacks for the kids every day. It's amazing to watch the metamorphosis of our children, where before they would look at fresh fruits or vegetables, especially vegetables, and say, stick their nose up like I guess I did when I was a kid, and want a more processed sweet snack or something like that. And now they're actually asking for those, and they get excited when cauliflower comes into the room.
One of the things that I did in the last year was I coordinated our Year of Change program, which was a program that was targeted at overweight, obese, and potentially pre-diabetic children. Seeing kids who came in saying, I can't do this, I'm not going to try doing this, I already know I can't do it. Going from that to, I want to play kickball, I want to practice jump roping. And that was a big change that I didn't necessarily anticipate seeing, after the beginning of the program. And so it was great to see that change over the course of the year.
Our summer feeding program is one of the things that's grown out of our PHC, where we're working with a already established program.
The program started out with about 3 or 4 sites, 2 county sites and 2 city sites. It has grown into 22 sites.
Grant money acquired from Walmart and the YMCA, we were able to add exercise and education component.
It started out with feeding somewhere from 300 kids per day to now it's feeding right at 1,100 per day.
That's an extension of the free lunch and free meals of the school system.
There are all kinds of properties in certain sections that are not being utilized. So we feel that if we could contact the owners of these properties and get people involved in gardening, then we could structure a community garden program here in Dyer County. It's in the center of a limited resource community where it gives people an opportunity to come back to the land and get the whole community involved.
The partnerships across our community are tremendous, and that's what makes it work, because it's not one entity that's duplicating anything. It's all of us working together for a common goal, and that's what makes the difference.
When the YMCA came along in the first place, we were keenly aware of the need for people to get more exercise and get out, and we never talked about or thought about walkability or anything along those lines. But when this recently came about in the last few years, then suddenly it opened up more doors that it's not just a thing for the YMCA to take care of. This is something that the whole community has to be a part of.
As discussions were starting to unfold for the development of another walking trail, some of us thought, well, maybe there's a cheaper alternative, and the idea we happened upon was the development or redevelopment, maybe the rediscovery of sidewalks that go throughout our city that are largely unused and not appropriately maintained.
We've been talking about doing something with the Fort Cordilla River, getting people back on the river, doing something down there. They have since built a floating dock down there, so now we have a way to go upstream, let people out with canoes and kayaks, catch them when they come through downtown Dyersburg. They could walk up the ramp and be out at the farmer's market. And we do events and festivals around that.
Hoping to have students, possibly some of our honor students, through some of their projects to help develop educational programs and exhibits for the River Center, and possibly having our students involved with even the checking out of the kayaks and canoes, so that more people will realize we have a blueway in Dyersburg and to enjoy it and take advantage of it.
Obviously, those grants we received from the state of Tennessee through the collaborative effort of the PHC, when we repaved Lake Road, there was a push, I guess, to put the bike lanes on Lake Road. Obviously, that came before the committee of the city. They went to the full board for a vote to do that, and we did that. I think that's the first important step.
This conversation has really evolved, and our work with Dyer County has been real important, especially now that we're developing our major thoroughfare plan. And we're fortunate enough that Dyer County has accepted to be our first demonstration area when trying to apply that.
The willingness of the Dyersburg community in Dyer County to really incorporate this vision into their overall planning for the county and for Dyersburg in general was very surprising. They were very inclusive and very open about their goals and the lifestyle that they were trying to create here for this community.
Looking at opportunities as well as the conditions and the performance of the system, I think that's going to play out real well here, because as I mentioned before, in my opinion, as part of Northwest Tennessee, Dyer plays a very key role because the infrastructure is here. And expanding on the vision of the community, I think is very important.
You know, if you want to change in a community, you have to become the change. So you have to model it, you have to talk about it all the time.
You know, if you're going to do these things, if you're going to promote healthy lifestyles, in my opinion, you have to lead by example. Honestly, I've become more healthy, quite honestly. I've lost 40 pounds. I'm working out more.
Personally, my involvement with PHC and all of the cooperating groups with it, I've actually lost about 20 pounds. You know, I've watched what I eat. Portions are smaller.
And I've taken the initiative myself. Took me a year and a half. I've lost about 40 pounds. Just not taking any pills, just using practical things that I've been seeing and taking note of.
Robert Woods Johnson and the University of Wisconsin does a county health ranking every year. We always have been in the bottom fourth of that. In 2011, we were 75th. This year in 2012, we moved up to 35th. It was a lot of factors in there, but I think by bringing it to the forefront of a lot of people's thoughts and people making it kind of a priority, that we've been able to move the needle some with our Pioneering Healthy Community and advancement of health in our community.
And it's surprising to me to see that one group coming together can get so much done in a short amount of time.
We take PHC serious, their actions and their mission, because it can make a difference long term with this community and county.
I've seen a real attitude change. I've seen a lot of people step up, and partnerships have grown. People know that they don't have to do all the work anymore, that it can be a shared effort.
I think the PHC initiative has undeniably and substantively improved the lifestyle of Dyersburg and Dyer County. And I think those improvements will continue for generations to come.